Hello, YouTube. What I have here today, and I hope you are vibing high. I'm vibing high as always, but what I have here for you today is this gift left to us by Dr. Wayne Dyer. May he rest in peace. I loved his readings, always have, and I started reading this, Power of Intention, and the first chapter, actually the preface, tells you to read the final chapter first. So I thought we would do that today. This is going to be interesting because it's a book and it doesn't sit flat. But we'll make it work the best we can, right? Right. So here we go. Chapter 15. A portrait of a person connected to the field of intention. Self-actualizing people must be what they can be. Abraham Maslow. A person who lives in a state of unity with the source of all life doesn't look any different from ordinary folks. These people don't wear a halo or dress in special garments that announce their godlike qualities. But when you notice that they go through life as the lucky ones who seem to get all the breaks, and when you begin to talk to them, you realize how distinctive they are compared to people living at ordinary levels of awareness. Spend a few moments in conversation with these people who are connected to the power of intention, and you see how unique they are. These people, whom I call connectors, to signify their harmonious connection with the field of intention, are individuals who... Dun, dun, dun. Yep, I figured it was going to be interesting. Come on, focus. Have made themselves available for success. It's impossible to get them to be pessimistic about achieving what they have desire in their lives. Rather than using language that indicates that their desires may not materialize, they speak from an inner conviction that communicates their profound and simple knowing that the universal source supplies everything. They don't say, with my luck, things won't work out. Instead, you're much more likely to hear something like, I intend to create this and I know it will work out. No matter how you might attempt to dissuade them by pointing out all the reasons why their optimism ought to be curtailed, they seem blissfully blind to a reality check repercussions. It's almost as if they're in a different world, a world in which they can't hear the reasons why things won't work out. If you engage them in conversation about this idea, they simply say something like, I refuse to think about what can't happen because I'll attract exactly what I think about. So I only think about what I know will happen. It doesn't matter to them what's happened before. They don't relate to the concepts of failure or it's impossible. They simply, without fanfare, are unaffected by reasons for being pessimistic. They've made themselves available for success, and they know and trust in an invisible force that's all providing. They're so well connected to the all providing source it's as if they have a natural aura preventing anything from getting through that might weaken their connection to the creative energy of the power of intention. Connectors don't place their thoughts on what they don't want because, as they'll tell you, the source of all can only respond with what is, and what is infinite supply. I can't relate to scarcity or things not working out because it's none of these things. If I say to the source of all things, it probably won't work out, I'll receive back from it precisely what I sent to it. So I know better than to think anything other than what my source is. To the average person who has fears about the future, this all sounds like mumbo jumbo. They'll tell their connector friend to do a reality check and look realistically at the world they live in. But connectors aren't distracted from their inner knowing. They'll tell you if you choose to listen. that this is a universe of energy and attraction, and that the reason so many people live lives of fear and scarcity is because they rely on their ego to fulfill their desires. It's simple, they'll tell you. Just reconnect to your source and be like your source, and your intentions will match up perfectly with the all-providing source. To connectors, it all seems so simple. Keep your thoughts on what you intend to create. Stay consistently matched up with the field of intention, and then watch for the clues that what you're summoning from all creative source is arriving in your life. To a connector, there are simply no accidents. They perceive seemingly insignificant events as being orchestrated in perfect harmony. They believe in synchronicity and aren't surprised when the perfect person for a situation appears, or when someone they've been thinking about calls out of the blue, or when a book arrives unexpectedly in the mail giving them the information they needed, or when the money to finance a project they've been intending mysteriously shows up. Connectors won't attempt to win you over to their point of view with debates. They know better than to place a lot of energy on arguing or being frustrated, because that attracts argumentation and frustration into their lives. They know what they know, and they aren't seduced into constructing a counterforce of resistance to people who live otherwise. They accept the idea that there are no accidents in a universe that has an invisible force of energy as its source that continuously creates and provides an infinite supply to all who wish to partake of it. They'll tell you plain and simple, if you inquire. All you have to do is tap into the power of intention. To tap into the power of intention is to be in a perfect match with the source of everything. And I'm choosing to be as closely aligned to that source as I can. To connectors, everything that shows up in their life is there because the power of intention intended it there. So they're always in a state of gratitude. They feel thankful for everything, even things that might seem to be obstacles. They have the ability and the desire to see a temporary illness as a blessing, and they know in their heart that somewhere an opportunity exists in the setback. And that is what they look for in everything that shows up in their life. Through their thanks, their honor, they honor all possibilities rather than asking their source for something, because that seems to give power to what's missing. They commute with the source in a state of reverent gratitude for all that's present in their lives, knowing that this empowers their intention to manifest precisely what they need. Connectors describe themselves as living in a state of appreciation and bewilderment. You're unlikely to hear them complain about anything. They aren't fault finders. If it rains, they enjoy it, knowing that they won't get where they want to go if they only travel on sunny days. This is how they react to all of nature, with appreciative harmony. The snow, the wind, the sun, and the sounds of the nature are all reminders to connectors that they're a part of the natural world. The air, regardless of its temperature or wind velocity, is the revered air that is the breath of life. Connectors appreciate the world and everything in it. The same connection that they experience with nature, they feel towards all beings, including those who lived before and those who have yet to arrive. They have a consciousness of the oneness, and therefore they make no distinctions, such as them or those other people. To a connector, it is all we. If you could observe their inner world, you discover that they're hurt by pain inflicted on others. They don't have the concept of enemies, since they know that all of us emanate from the same divine source. They enjoy the differences in the appearance and the customs of others rather than disliking, criticizing, or feeling threatened by them. Their connection to others is of a spiritual nature, but they don't separate themselves spiritually from anyone, regardless of where they might live or how different their appearance or customs may be from their own. In their heart, connectors feel an affinity to all life, as well as to the source of all life. It's because of this connecting link that connectors are so adept at attracting into their lives the cooperation and assistance of others in fulfilling their own intentions. The very fact of feeling connected means that in the connectors' minds, there's no one on this planet who they've not joined up with in a spiritual sense. Consequently, living in the field of intentions, the entire system of life in the universe is available to access anything their intention is on. Because they've already connected to this life-giving energy system and all of its creations. They appreciate this spiritual connection and expend no energy on depreciating or criticizing it. They never feel separated from the assistance that the entire life-giving system offers. Therefore, connectors aren't surprised when synchronicity or coincidence brings them the fruits of their intentions. They know in their hearts that those seemingly miraculous happenings were brought into their immediate life space because they were already connected to them. Ask connectors about it and they'll tell you. Of course, it's the law of attraction at work. Stay tuned vibrationally to the source of all life that intended you, and everyone else here, and all of the powers of that field of intention will cooperate with you to bring into your life what you desire. They know that this is how the universe works. Others may insist that the connectors are just plain lucky, but the people who enjoy the power of intention know otherwise. They know that they can negotiate the presence of anything they place their attention on as long as they stay consistent with the 7 faces of intention. Connectors don't brag about their good fortune, but are in a perpetual state of gratitude and radical humility. They understand how the universe works and they stay blissfully in tune with it, rather than challenging or finding fault with it. Ask them about this and they'll tell you that we're part of a dynamic energy system. Energy that moves faster, they explain, dissolves and nullifies slower moving energy. These people choose to be in harmony with the invisible spiritual energy. They've trained their thoughts to move at the levels of the higher vibrations, and consequently they're able to deflect lower, slower vibrations. Connectors have an uplifting effect when they come into contact with people who are living in lower energy levels. Their peacefulness causes others to feel calm and assured, and they radiate an energy of serenity and peace. They're not interested in winning arguments or accumulating allies, rather than trying to persuade you to think like they do. They're convincing through the energy they exude. People feel loved by connectors because they're merged with the source of all life, which is love. Connectors tell you without hesitation that they choose to feel good regardless of what's going on around them or how others might judge them. They know that feeling bad is a choice, and that they know that feeling bad is a choice and that it isn't useful for correcting unpleasant situations in the world. So they use their emotions as a guidance system to determine how attuned they are to the power of intention. If they feel bad in any way, they use this as an indicator that it's time to change their energy level so that it matches up with the peaceful, loving energy of the source. They'll repeat to themselves, "I want to feel good," and they'll bring their thoughts into harmony with this desire. If the world is at war, they still opt to feel good. If the economy takes a nosedive, they still want to feel good. If crime rates go up or hurricanes rage somewhere on the planet, they still choose to feel good. If you ask them why they don't feel bad when so many bad things are happening in the world, they'll smile and remind you that the world of spirit from which all is intended works in peace, love, harmony, kindness, and abundance, and that is where I choose to reside within myself. My feeling bad will only ensure that I attract more of feeling bad into my life. This is pretty cool. This is extremely cool actually. Connectors simply don't allow their well-being to be contingent on anything external to themselves. Not the weather, not the wars someplace on the globe, not the political landscape, not the economy, and certainly not anyone else's decision to be low energy. They work with the field of intention, emulating what they know is the creative source of all. Connectors are always in touch with their infinite nature. Death is not something they fear, and they'll tell you. if you ask, and they were never truly born, nor they were never truly born, and that they will never ever die. They see death as taking off a garment or moving from one room into another, merely a transition. They point to the invisible energy that intends everything into existence and see this as their true self. Because connectors always feel aligned to everyone and everything in the universe. They don't experience the feeling of being separate from anyone else or from what they'd like to attract into their lives. Their connection is invisible and non-material, but it's never doubted. Consequently, they rely on this inner, invisible spiritual energy that permeates all things. They live in harmony with spirit, never seeing themselves as separate. This awareness is key to their seeing the power of intention at work on a daily basis. You simply can't convince connectors that what they're intending won't materialize because they trust in their connection to the source energy so strongly. They'll invite you to choose which possibility you're going to identify with and then encourage you to live as if it had already occurred. If you can't do it and are stuck in worry, doubt, and fear, they'll wish you well, but they'll continue what they call thinking from the end. They can see what is they intend to manifest into their lives as if it already had materialized. And for them, because it's so real in their thoughts, it's their reality. They'll tell you forthrightly, my thoughts, when harmonized with the field of intention, are God's thoughts, and this is how I choose to think. You'll see, if you follow them closely enough, that they're exceptional at realizing the fruits of their intentions. Connector people are exceptionally generous. It's as if what they want for themselves is dwarfed only by wanting it even more for other people. They take great pleasure in giving. Others may wonder how they ever accumulate anything for themselves, yet their lives are filled with abundance, and they seem to lack nothing that they desire. The secret to the power of intention, they'll tell you, is in thinking and acting the same as the well-providing source from which all originates. It's always providing, and I choose to be a provider too. The more I give of myself and all that flows to me, the more I see flowing back to me. Connectors are highly inspired people. They live more in spirit than in form. Consequently, they're inspired and inspiring as opposed to informed and filled with information. These are people who have a strong sense of their own destiny. They know why they're here, and they know that they're more than an encapsulated collection of bones, blood, and organs in a skin and hair-covered body. They're all about living with purpose and choosing to avoid being distracted by the demands of the ego. They have great reverence for the world of spirit, and by communing with this source, they stay inspired. Their level of energy is exceptionally high. It's an energy that defines them as connectors. It's the energy of the source, a fast vibrational frequency that brings love to the presence of hatred and converts that hatred to love. They bring a peaceful countenance to the presence of chaos and disharmony. And convert the lower energies to the higher energies of peace. When you're around those who dwell in the field of intention, you'll feel energized, cleaner, cleansed, healthier, and inspired. They have a noticeable absence of judgment towards others, and they aren't immobilized by the thoughts or actions of others. They often get labeled as aloof and distant because they don't gravitate towards small talk and gossip. They'll tell you that it is the spirit that gives life, and that everyone on this planet has the spirit within them as an all-powerful force for good. They believe it, they live it, and they inspire others. They'll even go as far as to tell you that imbalances in the earth, such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and extreme weather patterns, are the result of a collective imbalance in human consciousness. They'll remind you that our bodies are made up of the same minerals as the earth, and that the fluid that comprises 98% of our blood was once ocean water, and that the minerals in our bones were components of the infinite supply of minerals in Earth. They view themselves as one with the planet and feel a responsibility to stay in balanced harmony with the field of intention to help to stabilize and harmonize the forces of the universe that can get out of balance when we live from excessive ego. They'll tell you that all thoughts, feelings, and emotions are vibrations, and that the frequency of these vibrations can create disturbances, not only in ourselves, but in everything that's made up of the same materials. Connectors will encourage you to stay in vibrational harmony with Source, out of a sense of responsibility to the entire planet, and they regard this as a vital function to emulate. This isn't something they think about and discuss from a purely intellectual perspective. It's what they feel deeply within themselves and live passionately every day. As you observe these connectors, you'll note that they don't dwell on illness and disease. They move through their life as if their body is in perfect health. They actually think and feel that any current disease pattern has never been present, and they believe that they're already healed. They believe that they attracted the new outcome because they know that there are many possible outcomes for any given condition, even for a condition that may seem to others to be impossible to overcome. They'll tell you that the possibilities for healing outcomes are here and now, and the course that an illness will take is a matter of their own perspective, just as they believe that external turbulent systems become peaceful in the presence of our peace. They see this as a possibility for internal turbulence. Ask them about their healing capabilities, and they'll say, I'm already healed, and I think and feel from only this perspective. You'll often see their illnesses and physical complaints disappear when you're in the presence of, you'll often see your illnesses and physical complaints disappear when you're in the presence of exceptionally high energy connectors. Why? Because their high spiritual energy nullifies and eradicates the lower energies of illness. Just as being in the presence of connectors makes you feel better because they exude and radiate joyful, appreciative energy, so too will your body heal by being in this kind of energy field. Connectors are aware of the need to avoid low energy. They'll quietly retreat from loud, bellicose, opinionated people, sending them a silent blessing and unobtrusively moving along. They don't spend time watching violent TV shows or reading accounts of atrocities and war statistics. They might appear docile or uninteresting to people who wallow in the horrors being discussed and broadcast. Since connectors have no need to win, to be right, or to dominate others, their power is the fact that they uplift others with their presence. They communicate their views by being in harmony with the creative energy of the source. They're never offended because their ego isn't involved in their opinions. Connectors live their lives matched up vibrationally to the field of intention. To them, everything is energy. They know that being hostile, hateful, or even angry toward people who believe in and support low energy activities which involve violence in any form will only contribute to that kind of debilitating activity in the world. The connectors live through higher, faster energy that allows them to access their intuitive powers readily. They have an inner knowing about what's coming. If you ask them about it, they'll tell you, I can't explain it, but I just know it because I feel it inside. Consequently, they're seldom confounded when the events they anticipate and intend to create manifest. Rather than being surprised, they actually expect things to work out. By staying so connected to the source energy, they're able to activate their intuition and have insight into what is possible and how to go about achieving it. Their inner knowing allows them to be infinitely patient, and they're never dissatisfied with the speed or the manner in which their intentions are manifesting. Connectors frequently mirror the 7 faces of intention written about throughout the pages of this book. You'll see people who are extraordinarily creative, who have no need to fit in or to do things the way others expect them to. They apply their unique individuality to tasks, and they tell you that they can create anything that they place their attention on and imagination on. Connectors are exceptionally kind and loving people. They know that harmonizing with source energy is replicating the kindness from which they originate. Alexa, stop. Sorry, I thought I liked the meditation music. But once the commercials come on, it's kind of aggravating. Anyway, connectors are exceptionally kind and loving people. They know that harmonizing with source energy is replicating the kindness from which they originated. Yet it's not an effort for connectors to be kind. They're always grateful for what comes to them, and they know that kindness towards all of life and our planet is how to display gratitude. By being kind, others want to return the favor and become allies in helping them achieve their intentions. They associate with an unlimited number of people, all of whom are full of love, kindness, and generosity, assisting each other in fulfilling their desires. You'll also notice how connectors see the beauty in our world. They always find something to appreciate. They can get lost in the beauty of a starry night or a frog on a lily pad. They see beauty in children, and they find a natural radiance and splendor in the aged. They have no desire to judge anyone in low-energy negative terms, and they know that all creating source brings only beauty into material form, so it is always available. Connectors never know enough. They're inquisitive about life, and they're attracted to every manner of activity. They find something to enjoy in all fields of human and creative endeavors, and are always expanding their own horizons. This openness to everything and all possibilities, and this quality of always expanding, characterizes their proficiency in manifesting their desires. They never say no to the universe. Whatever life sends them, they say, "Thank you. What can I learn, and how can I grow from what I'm receiving?" They refuse to judge anyone or anything that the source offers them, and this is always expanding attitude is what ultimately matches them with source energy and opens up their life to receiving all that the source is willing to provide. They're an open door that's never close to possibilities. This makes them totally receptive to the abundance that's always ceaselessly flowing. These attitudes that you see in connector people are precisely the reason that these folks seem so lucky in life. When you're around them, you feel energized, purposeful, inspired, and unified. You're seeing people whom you want to hang around with because they energize you, and this brings you a feeling of empowerment. When you feel empowered and energized, you step into the flow of abundant source energy yourself, and you inadvertently invite others to do the same. The connection isn't just to source energy, it's to everyone else and everything in the universe. Connectors are aligned with the entire cosmos and every particle within the cosmos. This connection makes the infinite power of intention possible and available. Alexa, play meditation music.
Meditation, free on Amazon Music.
These highly realized people think from the end, experiencing what they wish to intend before it shows up in material form. They use their feelings as a gauge to determine if they're synchronized with the power of intention. They feel good. They know that they're in vibrational harmony with Source. If they feel bad, they use this indicator to adjust to higher energy levels. And finally, they act on these thoughts of intention and good feelings as if all that they desired were already here. If you ask them what you can do to make your desires come true, they'll unhesitatingly advise you to change the way you look at things. The things you look at will change. I urge you to replicate their inner world and rejoice in the infinitely magnificent power of intention. It works. I guarantee it. Now that was awesome. And that is kind of the way that I want to be. I fit a lot of that picture, but much of it I don't. If you enjoyed that reading and would like to hear more, let me know in the comments. Of course, I don't know you, but I love you. And if you liked what this was, hit like and subscribe. And yeah, this was really, really important. The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'm going to read it again. And that last chapter is basically the way we all should be. Anyway, I don't know you, but I love you. You have a good evening. Peace.